Elias never expected his life to change that day. As a human engineer who traveled between scattered colonies, he had grown accustomed to monotony, repairing broken ships, dealing with bureaucracy, and negotiating with alien clients whose languages he barely understood. But when he stumbled upon the listing for an old interstellar vessel at a fraction of its usual cost, curiosity outweighed caution. The ship, a mid-sized freighter named Aurora's Edge, was said to be abandoned for decades. Its hull was scratched and pocked from collisions with meteoroids, and the interior was rumored to be stripped of valuable components. For someone like Elias, that was exactly the kind of project that promised profit and adventure. He arranged transport to the station where the vessel was moored, unaware that the freighter held a secret far more extraordinary than any engine schematic or fuel cell. The discovery. The docking bay was eerily quiet when Elias arrived. Aurora's Edge floated like a relic among the other ships, its lights dim, its engines dormant. He floated toward the airlock, checking his toolkit and muttering calculations under his breath. "Old ship, old problems," he said, swiping his hand through the airlock interface to engage the door. As the hull opened, the faint scent of ozone and recycled air hit him. Dust motes danced in the dim lighting, disturbed by the small whirl of his gravity boots. Elias stepped inside and began his inspection. At first, everything seemed typical of a derelict vessel. Panels were loose, wires hung from the ceiling, and the cargo bay was empty. But then, at the far end of the freighter, he noticed movement, a flicker of shadow behind a bulkhead. "Hello," he called, expecting perhaps a rodent-sized alien scavenger or a hidden drone left behind by the previous crew. The shadow didn't answer. Instead, a soft whimper echoed from the corner of the cargo bay. Elias's heart raced. Okay, definitely not a machine. He approached cautiously, raising his hand in a gesture of peace. That's when he saw her. A small figure, no taller than a human child, cowered in the corner. Her skin shimmered faintly with an iridescent blue hue, and her large eyes glimmered like twin galaxies. She had a frail, almost skeletal appearance, but there was something undeniably regal about the way she held herself despite her obvious fear. Elias froze. You're alive," he whispered. The alien girl nodded hesitantly, wrapping her arms around herself. Her voice was barely audible, a soft musical chime. "Please don't hurt me." The connection. Elias kneeled at a respectful distance. "I won't hurt you. I promise," he said gently. He offered a piece of rations from his pack. "Are you hungry?" She eyed the food cautiously, then, after a moment, took it with trembling hands. As she ate, Elias's trained eyes scanned her more closely. Her uniform, or what remained of it, was unlike anything he had seen. Embedded circuitry along her sleeves suggested advanced technology, and the fabric shimmered as though alive. Who are you?" he asked softly. "My name is Lyria," she whispered. I was trapped here for a long time." Trapped? Elias asked, his engineer's mind racing. "By who?" She shook her head. "I cannot say yet. They are powerful, dangerous." Her eyes darted nervously to the airlock. "But you are human. You saved me?" Elias swallowed, realizing the weight of the statement. "I didn't even know I could," he admitted. "I just bought a ship, that's all. I wasn't expecting this." Lyria's small smile, fragile as glass, hinted at relief. "Then you're different. They thought no one would help me." The journey begins. After confirming that she was unharmed and ensuring basic safety protocols, Elias decided he couldn't leave her alone. The freighter was unstable, its navigation arrays partially disabled. He spent hours repairing the engines, rerouting power, and slowly coaxing the ship back to operational status. Lyria watched him work, fascinated by his hands, by the way he moved and analyzed systems. Occasionally, she pointed to a damaged panel and murmured suggestions in her lilting tongue. Elias couldn't understand all of her words, but context and gestures made her meaning clear. By the time the ship's engines hummed with life, a bond had formed between them, not words, not formal introductions, but trust and understanding that transcended language. Elias felt a protectiveness he had never experienced before. Lyria, in turn, clung to his presence as a lifeline. Their departure from the station was quiet, the ship slipping through space like a phantom. But freedom came with new challenges. The galaxy was a dangerous place, and those who had trapped Lyria once would not remain idle forever. The first threat. 2 days into their journey, sensors picked up an incoming vessel, large, armed, unmistakably hostile. Lyria froze as the ship's silhouette appeared on the radar. They have found me, she whispered, her small hand shaking. Elias's pulse quickened. We're not going down without a fight, he said, activating the ship's defensive protocols. Shields powered up, weapon systems online, though they were limited. The attackers fired first, their plasma bolts hammering Aurora's Edge's hull. Sparks flew inside the cargo bay, where Lyria had sought cover. Elias shouted, "Stay down. Don't move." The alien girl's eyes widened in terror, but she didn't run. Somehow, Elias sensed that her courage was quiet but potent, a hidden strength. As he maneuvered the ship, dodging attack after attack, Lyria moved closer to the controls, her small fingers brushing the panels instinctively. "I can help," she said, almost as if testing herself. Elias glanced at her, incredulous. "You know how to?" "Trust me," she whispered. Together, they coordinated the ship's evasive maneuvers. Elias piloted, while Lyria tapped into the auxiliary systems, rerouting energy to shields, anticipating enemy movements in ways even Elias couldn't explain. Within moments, the attacker's ship was thrown off course, forced to retreat into the void. Elias exhaled, his hands trembling. You saved us." Lyria looked up at him, eyes shining with unshed tears. "We saved each other," she said softly. "A new purpose." 4 days afterward, silence filled the cabin as they navigated through uncharted space. Elias studied Lyria, realizing she wasn't just a passenger or a childlike alien. She carried knowledge of civilizations and technology far beyond human comprehension. Her presence changed him, opening his mind to possibilities he had never imagined. I don't know where we're going," Elias admitted one night as they floated among distant stars. "But I know I can't leave you alone out here." Lyria's hand brushed against his, a fleeting touch, yet filled with warmth. "Then we go together," she said. The revelation. Weeks into their journey, Lyria finally revealed the truth. "I am not ordinary. My people are powerful. I was captured because of my lineage. They feared I would rise to lead." Her gaze held his, steady and unwavering. "You didn't just buy a ship. You saved an heir to a galactic empire." Elias felt the weight of her words, but instead of fear, he felt determination. "Then I guess my life just got a lot more complicated," he said with a half-smile. "But I'm not leaving your side." Lyria's lips curved into a genuine smile, the first he had seen without fear or hesitation. "I am glad," she said. The ending. Together, they charted a course to her homeworld, a journey filled with danger, discovery, and the slow forging of trust between two beings from different worlds. Elias learned not just about alien technology, but about courage, empathy, and the kind of bonds that defy species, language, and expectation. The galaxy was vast, full of threats, secrets, and mysteries. But for the first time in his life, Elias realized that some adventures were not about wealth, fame, or achievement. They were about the lives you touch, the connections you make, and the unexpected companions who forever change your destiny. As the stars stretched endlessly before them, the human engineer and the alien girl sailed onward, partners in an unknown future, ready for whatever the galaxy had in store.